Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 40 years. I'm going through the lessons this year, asking Jesus to clarify for me, as I've done in the past. And then I'm writing from that clarity, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. So today we're looking at lesson 299. In eternal holiness abides in me. My holiness is far beyond my own ability to understand or know. Yet God my Father, who created me, acknowledges my holiness as His. Our will together understands it, and our will together knows that it is so. Father, my holiness is not of me. It is not mine to be destroyed by sin. It is not mine to suffer from attack. Illusions can observe it, but it cannot put out its radiance, nor dim its light. It stands forever perfect and untouched. In it are all things healed, for they remain as you created them. And I can know my holiness, for holiness itself created me, and I can know my source, because it is your will that you be known. I wonder how many of us contemplate our holiness and what that means. I had always been more interested in what needed to be undone in my mind. Firstly, what I thought of as bad stuff was something I did believe in. My holiness, not so much. So finding and releasing ego thoughts was something I could get behind. After a bit of practice, it became obvious to me which thoughts needed to go. More importantly, the happy effects of the mind being cleared of ego thinking convinced me to remain vigilant. The idea that I'm very holy, however lovely it sounds, left me stumped. I couldn't figure out how to do anything about this. I didn't feel holy, and nothing I said or did made me feel holy. As it turns out, evidently, there's nothing to do about holiness. It just is. I can acknowledge it, or I can pretend it is not true. That seem to be the two options from which I choose. Pretending that holiness doesn't exist in me and doesn't affect my holiness at all. Behaving in a very unholy way doesn't affect it. Actively denying my holiness doesn't affect it. Feeling embarrassed at the idea of saying I'm very holy doesn't negate the fact that I am. Someone berating me for my grandiose claims does not change my holiness. My holiness is in me, but not of me. So it's not possible for me to affect it. My holiness is God's holiness. Only our will together understands it, and only our will together knows that it is so. Consequently, I choose to accept it as truth. In this lesson, Jesus says, "In it are all things healed, for they remain as you created them." All of this tells me that I am holy and that my holiness matters. I can continue to do what I've been doing, bringing darkness to the light, that is, to my holiness. I'm still stumped about understanding holiness and what to do with this. Luckily, I don't need to understand. In chapter 18, Jesus is very clear on that point. You are still convinced that your understanding is a powerful contribution to the truth and makes it what it is. Yet we have emphasized that you need understand nothing. Salvation is easy just because it asks nothing you cannot give right now. Holy Spirit, I accept that I don't need to understand, and I ask you to guide me in what I can give now. I'm very holy. My holiness has nothing to do with this body or its story. Myron, the character, isn't holy, by the way. Nothing done in the story adds to my holiness, and nothing takes away from it. When I used to be more attached to my story and more identified with her, I couldn't really accept this. It seemed I needed to be doing something that added value to myself, and that I did things wrong that took away from that value. It seemed important that this was true. What I do now, I do for the sake of love. I know that my good works don't add to God's creation. They just add to my happiness in the world and perhaps help others on their path. So here are Regina's tips. She says, today, contemplate where you are in the process of coming to know the eternal holiness that abides in you. Are you in the purification stage where you're primarily involved with noticing false thinking, beliefs, conditionings, and letting them go? Are you in the stage of merging, which is primarily involved with perfecting your abundance with the right mind, spiritual intuition? Are you in the stage of pure perception, where merging has been perfected, and now you wait quietly for God to take his final step? Also, based on where you are in this process, what is your primary function now? And so I answered that. I said I'm at the last stages of the purification process, as I still notice some false thinking. I let go easily and quickly, and I'm certain of my purpose. But I'm also perfecting spiritual intuition. I have noticed that it has not been about trying so much as it is about being open and receptive all the time. Often I act on spiritual intuition without knowing what it is for or even that I'm doing it until, in retrospect, I see the effects. I am learning to fully surrender and to trust absolutely. This is from a past journal. One day I caught myself arguing with a fellow student about something something in the course meant. For a moment there, it seemed terribly important that she understand what I was saying and that she agrees with me. It seemed so self-evident. How could she not see it my way? Then I snapped back to reality. Did I believe that I truly know something? Did I believe that my purpose is to teach her something? What was I thinking? Now when I think about it, I laugh at myself. For just a few moments, I was right back there with the ego thinking that the truth needs my understanding and my help. I am an extension of God's love, so is my sister. How could I possibly improve upon that? No one needs my help to know the truth. I do not need my help to know the truth. My only task is to give up all the false ideas I put in place to block the truth from my mind, and to do this without exception. If it seems to help, it is that I am allowing the Holy Spirit to work through me. As I do this, the light of God, which I am, will shine more and more brightly. The body's eyes will not see this light, but the mind will recognize it and respond to it. If I feel the need to do more than share my awakening and support my brothers and sisters in their awakening, then I have briefly forgotten my purpose, and I gladly return to it. Thank you so much for joining me in today's lesson. If you found it helpful, then please like it. And if you would, please subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with another lesson.